All right, I like to say that separation is in the preparation, and certainly going to job sites like this, you need to be prepared with the right safety gear, the right attitude, and some of the right tools that we're going to talk about. So obviously working from the top down, the old hard hat. You got to show up to these jobs wearing the right safety gear, otherwise it's the fastest way to get yourself asked to be escorted off the job. So important to have the hard hat, obviously. Next comes the safety glasses, right? Always got to have your safety glasses on site in addition to your safety vest. The vest I have has multiple pockets so I can put a lot of things in it, so I'm not having to use my hands to carry stuff. And then lastly, your work boots. You got to have work boots and jeans, right? So from a safety gear standpoint, that's what you want to be wearing going to the job sites. You want to look like, obviously, you know what you're doing. You've been there before. You don't want to attract too much attention with this stuff. Some of the things that I like to carry in my safety vest, notepads, the Holdrite notepads. These are great order pads for the contractors. I give these guys at the job site when they're writing stuff in their shanty. I give them the notepads all the time. I also take notes with it. Business cards, come prepared. Always have your business cards readily available for the GCs, the electrical guys, the plumber, whoever else you're meeting on site. And then last but not least, in the back, I always carry my Holdrite catalogs, right? So it's very accessible. I put them in the back of my vest. Can bring them out, walk through the products with the guys on site. You start looking at applications. You can reference some of the pictures in the catalog. It's a great tool to have on site. And I just leave it right here in the back of my vest. All right, so now we're going to go through being prepared with the right tools to bring to the job site. You never know what you're going to find on site, so you always want to have a lot of options with you. I'm going to run through a lot of the things that I bring to every single job site, and then get into some of the other ones specific that I bring for if I know a job's running cast iron, for example. I'll bring a sample to 117. But pretty much to start this off, you want to make sure you got all your literature, right? You want to have all the different catalogs, the main Holdrite catalog, the HydroFlame Pro catalog, the DWV testing, Testrite, the brackets, the 117s. You want to have a good selection of all the catalogs at your disposal in case you run into an opportunity where a guy wants to learn more about a specific product that he wants to try on this job site. You got it with you right there. So always have a lot of literature with you, obviously. We talk about products. I always bring the two different sizes of our HydroFlame Pro sleeve. The reason why I bring the smaller one, the half to 1 inch sleeve, is because this is the one that we fill the gap that Hilti doesn't provide, right? And Hilti is the one we see on a lot of projects. So it's always good to have the one that differentiates yourself from your competition. And then I bring one of the other ones that's the telescoping version of the sleeve. So a couple different sleeves. And as we work through it, we talk about Testrite on nearly every single project. I bring a no-hub version of the T and a PVC version of the T in different sizes with me. In addition to that, I bring the two different wedge styles, so you can show them the one that has the valve that allows you to fill and drain, that feature and benefit, as well as the one that's just the open and close valve as well. From a bracketry standpoint, you know, the stout brackets, versions of the SB3 brackets, the SB1s, 2s, any stout bracket, showing a lot of the different variations of what you can do and the flexibility of this product. This is a good one to have in your bag. This is a little handheld display. It shows the shower head and CPVC, copper, PEX being run with the different components. Gives you some versatility when you're running through a job site to show the guy how he can use our products in all these different applications. This one's a very important piece of it. I bring the Strut Clamp, the little Strut Clamp thing with our 257 and 287 piece of strut. Show them how fast and quick it is to put a strut clamp together versus what they might be using on site. This one's good to throw in the bag. I usually throw all this stuff in my bag. We got the Testrite, the Test Tees, a couple of the sleeves, the HydroFlame cap tool I always put one of those in there. In addition, I put the aerator box and the 2-inch dam just to show a couple of the components we have. The catalog, you can go through in more detail of everything we have, but it's good to show a couple of the components that we have. Along the lines of sleeve also, I carry our competition. I want to show the guys firsthand the difference between us and the competition. I want to show them the different components that they have to buy from Hilti and put it all together and duct tape it all together. I put that in the bag as well. We got our brackets. Some other things that I like to bring for guys that are using Testrite on a job. If we just left a job here where the guy's using Testrite, I always bring the little O-ring replacement kits with me and give them to them as just a giveaway. Hey, next time one fails on you, just here's some replacement kits so you don't have to buy the whole thing again. Thanks for using our products. I usually put half a dozen of these in my bag. Here's the 117. I usually have this in the truck. I'm not bringing this on a job site. It's heavy, obviously, a little cumbersome, but I have it in the truck. If it's a no-hub job, I'm trying to get the guy off the job to my truck so I can show him this thing installed on a piece of no-hub cast iron. A couple other things that we found along the lines that really help to show up at a job site. Everybody loves t-shirts on a job site, guys. Bring in some t-shirts. You guys are using your products, you're trying to promote goodwill, thank them for using our products. Bring them t-shirts. Down here in Florida, it gets a little hot, so we do things a little bit differently. They use the long sleeve shirts, right? Long sleeve shirts. They love these things, they eat them up. And then probably last but not least is we all travel around with our Holdrite coolers, and we keep them stocked with Gatorades and waters. Because on a hot day like today, these guys appreciate coming off a job site, get them around the back of your truck, show them stuff, hand them shirts and give them some Gatorades, cool them off, offer to buy them lunch, whatever you got to do. We always keep a cooler filled with Gatorades and water on the truck as well. So these are some of the things that are pretty common that you should have in the back of your truck or your car when you're going to a site. So you're prepared. You're prepared to talk about the Holdrite offerings and also prepared to say thanks for using our products. All right, so now we're going to go inside the units and find out what these guys are doing, what they're using, what type of applications they're running, what type of pipe is on the job. We can see coming into this first unit right here, they're running a plastic DWV system. They've already got our Testrite installed right here. Always like to check and make sure that it's installed correctly, that they've been putting it in correctly, they have no issues with it. So this one looks like it's been installed correctly. The threads are all the way down to the seated up to the T. It looks pretty good. So you got the plastic PVC DWV. Always like to follow the pipe. So as we come into the units, looks like they're running the PEX piping and supporting all the applications with our stout brackets, which is outstanding. So we got your lab stub outs. Here's one piece to this that we're going to learn on site. They're stubbing out with copper bullets. So there's a couple identifiers that we can show them to save some additional money on the job by transitioning away from copper bullets and coming straight out of the wall in PEX. But it looks like they're strapping with our SB brackets and some Mickey Mouse clamps. They got a nice rigid support coming out. We got another Testrite T installed right here. Notice no pipe thread, pipe dope, any of that stuff needed. Ready for the test. Follow the pipes up. They got their mid-span support. This is another application. So you got your lav with an SB bracket. You got your mid-span with an SB bracket. They got a couple mid-span spots here. And then as the pipe travels up through the ceiling and the chase here, you got some grommets for the through stud metal grommets. And then the pipe runs overhead and drops back down here where you get an additional support on your mid-span here. Another Testrite installed. Looks like they got a lot of our Testrite on the job site.
Always like to check the O-rings, make sure that there's nothing that looks funky with the O-rings. Probably give these guys some O-ring replacement kits as a courtesy and a thank you for using our products. These look like they're in pretty good shape and look like they've been using them for quite some time. So we'll ask them about that, how long they're using them, how long they've been lasting on the job. These are things that we can identify and bring it to other contractors and let them know, hey, Southwest has been using these on this project, that you've been working well and use them for multiple times versus a test ball. All right, so now we're in the kitchen part of the unit right here. We got some other applications that are being addressed. Over here you got the ice maker right here using our stout brackets. Nice rigid solution. Coming through the studs with their pipe tight grommets. You come around here to the island where the sink is, the sink and dishwasher solution right here, using our stout brackets with our ProGuard clamps as well for their rigid stub outs on their copper bullets right here. PEX running up through the concrete slab. We're slab on grade here, but using us in about 90% of the applications it looks like so far. Over here, we're going to walk over to where the hot water heater is, the water heater closet, and see what they got going on here. So here we got we got a stout bracket for midspan support, but we got some fairing strips, some wood fairing strips that they use for rigid supports in these applications. So even though we're getting about 90% of the applications on this job with our stout brackets, there's still opportunities for five more stout brackets per unit. This is about a 280 unit job. You do the quick math, and there's other opportunities to sell product onto it. Another stout bracket here for your midspan support being utilized, and then all the Test-Rite tees. So it looks like these guys from Southwest Plumbing have really bought into the system for Holdrite. They're using our stout brackets in 90% of their applications for their stub outs. Test-Rite on this job, 2, 3s, and 4s it looks like primarily. So we'll check with the plumbers and make sure that everything's going good. They're not having any issues with the Test-Rites. Make sure that they're getting the product they need on site in a timely manner, etc. All right, so another thing I like to do on the job sites is take photos of their installations, build my catalog up of job site installations. So I'm usually walking around my phone, snapping some pictures of what they're doing on site, the various application using our products or other products. And the reason why I do that is a couple things. Is it allows me to take that information back to the office, to the owners or the PMs or the decision makers, and help explain why they should be using our products versus what they're currently doing on site in the real world. There's oftentimes a lot of disconnect between the office and what the guys actually do in the field. So I use these photos for that purpose. I also use these photos to build my deck. I call it building your credibility. So when you're with other plumbing contractors in the regions, you can show them firsthand some of the ways that their peers are using our products in their installations, and show them why our products work and who they're working for, and use it as a really good tool to show firsthand our products in the field. That it's just not a sales guy showing a product that's actually being used with these plumbing contractors, and they're gaining the benefits of our products on site. So I usually walk around with my phone in my hand, and I take the application photos as I go. When I'm done with the day, I'll go back and download them onto my iPad. I'll categorize them by plumbing contractor and by job site. So when guys ask me later on, who's using your product, I can quickly revert back to a catalog of installation photos and not only tell them who's using them, but show them firsthand why they're using our products and the benefits these guys are getting in the field. It's a perfect thing to do with certainly the stout brackets. Test-Rite is a big product for that, showing it in use. It's a new product. It's a product that's that guys haven't used before, and so they want to see that their peers have used it. They're not the guinea pigs. They're not the first one out there testing these things, and you can confidently talk to them about how they work, how many usages they get out of our products, etc. All right, so we just had the opportunity to meet with the superintendent from Southwest Plumbing, who's running this project right here. Wanted to touch base with him and make sure that he was happy with our products. It sounds like he's very happy with the products he's using. Loves our stout brackets and the flexibility for all the different applications. The Testrite, he said it's the best product that he's used on the testing side of it. I asked him about how many usages he's getting out of our wedges and if there's any issues with those. He said that out of 100 different tests, he might have 2 or 3 that leak right out of the stem a little bit. But he said, you know, compared to what he was using before, he's getting a lot more usages out of them. They're easier to work with. They're fast and safe and dry for his guys. So that's what we want to hear. Dropped off some shirts and hats to the guy, thanked him very much for his support, and told him we'd come back with some bags. He's got boxes of our Testrite stuff. We'll bring him some duffel bags to put his Testrite gear in. He can use them as his test bags. But overall, I'd say he's very happy with the Holdrite products. And it's always good to get in the field with these guys and make sure our products are performing up to their standards and that there's no issues on site. Next time we come, we'll probably bring them a handful of Testrite wedges as replacements, just as a thank you at no charge for continuing to use our products. So I'd say it was a pretty good call. We've identified a few opportunities where we need to look into for other applications and for other product opportunities with this company. But overall, I'd say 95% of everything they're doing right now is Holdrite. So that's what we want to see, and that's why we come to the job sites. All right, so we're talking about fire stopping. Any penetration that comes through the floor obviously has to be fire stopped. So as we move into that category and offering caulk solutions, these penetrations right here are all going to have to go back and get fire caulked. So we need to find out who's doing the fire caulking on the job and what material they're buying to do their fire caulking, and not only that, where they're buying it from. It might be a distribution channel that we're not even approaching yet or involved with yet, that we could identify another opportunity with our fire caulking line of products. All right, so here we are downtown Miami on a 60-story high-rise. Obviously the building's been under construction for some time. They're already skinned up and poured all the way to the top. It's 60 floors up. They're roughed in all the way up and hanging drywall well up the building, but they got a lot of open rooms and open roughs up on the higher floors, starting at around 46 floors all the way up to 60. So we took a walk with Tim, who's the superintendent of the plumbing company down here, to show us what they're using. What we found out was they're using our SB3 brackets on a lot of their in-wall supports for their mid-spans, for their stub outs, etc. Also their shower trees. They prefab their shower trees back at the shop, bring them out to the site, hang them up. They use our stout brackets there. On their lab stub outs, they're running CPVC water lines on this, and they're using our 600 series brackets with the gluable inserts. So they're gluing the CPVC to them. Tim loves the products. He's been using them for a long time. They work really well. We talked about EWV testing. He's using a device called the clicker on this, and he's seen our Testrite, and he's been an advocate at the front office trying to sell the owner on our Testrite, but we haven't been able to overcome yet the price objection. So we got a little bit of homework there. We learned from Tim firsthand that he's having issues with the clickers, with the testings not holding for his inspections. He's had issues with. And then lastly, as far as sleeving goes, these guys put in Crete sleeves. They use a combination, Crete sleeves and Pro-Set sleeves. They like the Pro-Set sleeves for their tub boxes and their toilets primarily. They can glue the piping right into the Pro-Set sleeve. All their pass-through sleeves are used with the Crete sleeves, of which we learned firsthand what a pain in the ass it is to use these Crete sleeves. At Tim's own admission, they spend a hell of a lot of time having to tear these Crete sleeves out of the deck. All right, and it makes a mess. There's debris all over the place. And while we're sitting with Tim up on the 48th floor, watching a guy with a crowbar and a hammer tear out the Crete sleeve and take 5 minutes on our timed clock for him to take out one crease sleeve. All the debris that was left around this opening has to be cleaned up. And about 10 minutes after we left that and went to the 60th floor, Tim gets a radio call from the GC telling them, you got to get down there and clean up all the debris on floor 56 and 55. There's too much debris on the floor. So we learned a lot. We took some time with Tim, found out what his pains are on the job, what we could solve for him potentially. I talked to him about our hollow sleeve and how you can leave the hollow sleeve in the deck. And even though it costs more than a crease sleeve, apples to apples, off the shelf, out of the box, the savings they're going to make up on this without having to tear it out of the floor, clean up all the debris, collect all the crease sleeves and take them down 60 floors to a dumpster. What they're going to save on that alone is more than enough to make up for the cost of our sleeves being more expensive than a crease sleeve. So, wrapping it up, great contractor. They do a lot of work. Right down the way here, they're starting a 96-story building. On this job right here, he told me they have 398 sleeves per floor. Times 60 floors, quick math, it's almost 24,000 sleeves in this job right here. They're getting ready to start a 96-story building right down the way. They got another one that's 80 stories across the street from that one. These guys got a lot of work. They're a union contractor. They're concerned about labor. And we have some products that can solve some problems for them on the job site. So we're gonna wrap it up. Tim wants me to leave our hollow sleeve with him so he can take it to the office and talk to his boss, explain the savings involved in this. He wants all the documentation from UL and all the stuff that accompanies it with the spec sheets. And he's gonna try to submit it on the 96-story building. And we're gonna follow up with Tim in the office and the guys on the PMs at the office and make sure they understand how much labor they're actually spending having to tear these dang crease sleeves out. So it was a great call and great learning experience to see what these guys do firsthand. We're on a high rise here in Miami. We're up on about the 45th floor. They're running a hybrid system, so on their vent they're running PVC stacks and they're running cast iron on the wet side right here. They're installing and using our Strut tees. We talked to the contractor about how much he likes them. They're testing every 2 floors on this job. They're working great. He's used the same wedge all the way up the building. Before, when he was using the test balls, he told us that he would get maybe 2, maybe 3 usages out of a test ball before they said to throw them away and order the new ones. So he loves the product. It's working well. He's using them on the 2, 3, 4, and 6 inch. On both the PVC and the cast iron. When you look over here, this is the mechanical piping for all the mechanicals. The mechanical is using the riser clamp pads, and they're using, I don't know who they're from, but they don't have the feet on the top of them like ours do to keep them underneath the riser clamp. So you can see right here, this one's already been kicked out. Somebody's gonna, if they don't see it, somebody's gonna have to come back and fix this. They got the riser clamp. On the mechanical side, they're subbing out the fire stopping and waterproofing, which is what you see here at the locations here. On this particular job, it's MP Fire Stop is the subcontractor. Talking to the plumbing contractor, he said that the mechanical is subbing this stuff out as well for here. So they're going to be using all of our 117 restraints for the change of direction on the no-hub cast iron. He's used it on a previous project, and the only complaint he has was that his wholesale distribution didn't have enough in stock of what he needed. So we're working on this project with Ferguson and making sure that we have enough product in stock to support this entire project so that he has the product available when he needs it. All right, so we're at another job site here, another high-rise condominium behind me. This one's a 48-story or 50-story high-rise. It's already being piped all the way up. They're studded inside the rooms up to about 26, 27 floor. They're roughing in. I always like to say there's an opportunity on every job site, and this is a perfect example.
We met with a plumbing contractor who was gracious enough to take us through the units, take us to the top, show us what they do, why they do it, and the things they use. This guy uses a lot of our SB3 brackets for his in-wall piping supports, but along the way you also see there's a lot of metal studs being tin snipped for their mid spans and some of their stub outs and whatnot. So they're using a combination of our engineered brackets and tin snip metal studs. One of his challenges is getting enough material, planning ahead of time and getting enough material on the site. If they don't have it on site, his guys are going to keep moving. They're going to cut the metal studs, they're going to install the pipe, and they're just going to keep moving. They're on a fast schedule. They're pouring a floor every 4 days on this job. He's using ProSet. He's a guy that's used ProSet for many, many years. He's had no issues with the product. He likes the product. It eliminates the riser clamp on some of the floors. They're using a hybrid system on this job, so it's cast iron on the wet side, and on the dry side it's PVC piping. On their stacks on both wet and dry, they're using our Testrite. They love the product. The guy told us that they're testing every 2 floors, and that previous to using Testrite, they use test balls, and he was lucky to get 2 or 3 usages out of a test ball. And on a project like this, where they're testing every 2 floors and it's a 50-story building, he's used the same wedges from the base of the building all the way up through the top without replacing them and without having to throw them away. So it's telling us that the product's working. It's achieving what we say it's going to achieve, a longer lasting device and tool. So he's really glad about that. On the cast iron on this job, he's putting an order together right now for all his 117 restraints at the change of direction. Any pipe over 6 inch in diameter on this project at change of direction or at the end of line has to have the fitting restraints. He said that the local plumbing inspector on his job before this one made sure that there was a Holdrite installed 117 product. We've done some work with the local inspectors in this area, and they all look out for it now, and they make sure that the guys that are running cast iron on these jobs are installing an engineered solution. Prior to that, he had always used riser clamps and threaded rod like a lot of people do. So we learned a lot on this job along the way. We also learned who the mechanical guy was, a different trade running the mechanical side. They're using the riser clamp pads with the steel pads on the top under every single riser clamp on their mechanical piping running all the way through the building. We saw a handful of instances where those pads have been kicked out from underneath the riser clamps. So we got the name of the mechanical to follow up with him and make sure that they know that we have a riser clamp pad with the little prongs that won't kick out underneath the riser clamps. So there's another opportunity that we've addressed on this job. We're going to follow up with the Ferguson guys, make sure that they have enough product in stock, that they start stocking more and more of our bracketry for these guys in particular. They use them on every project. But along the way, you find other opportunities when you're walking these sites and talking to the guys and seeing what they're using, why they're using it, and identifying other opportunities to sell more products. Certainly gave the guy a big thank you for using our products, and obviously our contact information. If he's got any issues with any of his products, give us a call. We'll be here. It's important to let these guys know that you're here for them. If they have an issue, we're going to be on site supporting them. So that was this project wrap up, and like I said, there's an opportunity on every job. Alright, so we're up on a deck on a job in the Tampa area. It's a high-rise multi-family project. We're up on the deck where you can see all the activity going on. You got all the trades, everybody's scrambling for deck time. Everybody's doing rebar. There's electricals up here. You got the plumbing contractors, mechanical. Everybody's trying to get their stuff into the slab before this concrete gets poured. And what you got here from Holdrite is a contractor that's running their PEX tubing in the slab, and they're using our 707s for the single run pop-ups right here, and the 708s for the double run pop-ups right here. And what's nice about these is they'll pour the concrete, as you'll see on the other decks down below, to this height right here. It looks like probably this height right here, and these will be sticking up out of the concrete and give them added protection. When the whirlybirds go to finish these floors after the concrete's poured, they won't damage the PEX. They'll hit our 708 pop-ups, and it gives them a little bit of added protection.
They're using our tub boxes. And then all the pass-through sleeves, these are the telescoping sleeves. They look like they have them set at about 9 inches. So it's probably a 9-inch pour on this deck here. You start to notice some of the other trades and the work they're doing over here behind us. We got the electrical guys that are running all their conduit and their pop-ups. They're using our 708 pop-ups as well. So we got the electrical, another trade on the job using our products. They probably saw the plumber and what he was using and adopted the usage of our pop-up brackets for their in-slab electrical runs. And you can also see the sleeve choice that they've selected on this job is Hilti. And you can see firsthand what the difference between using the Hilti type product on a slab versus our product on a slab. Where you have to use duct tape to keep the thing together and keep the caps on. It's a very common thing you see everywhere. So the takeaway for me on this job is although it's an absolutely fantastic, perfect project right here going for Holdrite, addressing all of the in-slab products that we offer. We bolted on with the electrical guy on his pop-ups for his bends, but we still got a little bit of work to do. Let's go see if we can get the electrical guy on our sleeves. They can see it firsthand, side by side, the benefits of our sleeves versus what they're currently using. They're already buying some of our material. This is where we start bolting on products to the other trades on these jobs, and this is why we're here. So we just left the job site over in Tampa where we hooked up with the guys from Gulf Mechanical. It's another high-rise, multi-story building. 2 separate towers of residential units with a garage in the middle, space going up. 27-story high-rise in total. They were up to about the 8th or 9th floor, I believe it was, when we were there. Gulf Mechanical has been a very strong supporter of Holdrite over the years and various products that we've come out with. On that particular job, we got to identify and see firsthand all the deck work that they were doing. They're running PEX piping on the job for their water piping. They're also running PVC for the drain, waste, and vent. All the PEX piping that they're running is being poured into the slab, in which they're using our 707 and 708 pop-ups to run their PEX in. They love the product, have used that on multiple occasions now. Interestingly enough, that product has now translated over to another trade on the job, the electrician. While we were there, we got to see the electricians were using our 707s for their PVC conduit 90s that they pop up in the slab too. And I got to talk to the superintendent on the site, and he said that he had learned about them from the plumbing trade out there that were running their PEX pop-ups in the slab. He tried them out with his conduits and they worked great, so now he's using them on the decks as well. Their Gulf Mechanical is using our HydroFlame Pro sleeves primarily because of the flexibility, the adjustability of them, and the fact that they're not only fire rated but water rated. That's a big deal on their projects. They have to have watertight floors. What we also saw was the electrician was using Hilti sleeves. So we talk about there's opportunities on every job site. You think about a mechanical contractor like Gulf who's using 95 to 98% of our products on every application. In the slab supports, in the slab sleeves, they're running all of our bracketry systems throughout the in-wall support systems, overhead, strut clamps, on and on, pretty much using everything that we have. There's still an opportunity on that job to make a touch point. This one came back to us as a pretty big opportunity on the electrical side. Power Design is the electrician on that job. They do work up and down the East Coast. They're a very large electrical contractor. They're using Hilti sleeves, and what we saw firsthand is they're having to cut these sleeves and reattach the caps on them and use duct tape to keep it all together. We've already got them using one of our products that kind of bled over from the plumbing contractor using it on site. Now we have a contact at the office to follow up with. We got a guy on site, the superintendent on that job, highly interested in our HydroFlame sleeves. He's heard from the plumbers how much they like them, added some credibility to our products. The follow-up on this, we're going to go get them, go to the office and meet with the decision makers at the office, go through the product demonstration and what our products do for them, and then obviously get them pricing and take those steps to get them off of the Hilti sleeves and then over to ours. If we're successful in doing that, now we've tied together another trade with another product, and it's all about bolting on and making touch points on these jobs to sell these products and learn firsthand how these guys are installing them. So that was the follow-up on that job. Gulf continues to support us. It's even though they're buying our products in great volumes on every project, it's always good to get in front of these guys on the site, thank them for their business, and see what else we can offer, not only them but the other trades out there.